was fantastic. She really connected with the audience.
She was a phenomenal speaker. She had a lot of energy and she kept it real.
I'm Kelly Swanson. I'm a motivational speaker, a comedian, and author of Who Hijacked My Fairy Tale.
I ended up being on the phone with her for like 45 minutes and I didn't even realize she was the best speaker that I've ever worked with.
I'm Kelly Swanson. It's nice to meet you. Look at all these people staring at you. They're waiting for you to say something that's going to change their lives.
After I got out of college, I was an English major. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to a writing class at a community college, and there were a bunch of teachers in there taking it for credit. And the teacher said, you know, your story's good, but the way you tell it is even better.
I finally realized life ain't about looking like the princess.
So I started going to schools, telling stories, and I fell into the world of storytelling and became a professional storyteller. So then I met a humorist, Jeannie Robertson, and she said, you know, you need to be a motivational speaker. What you do is motivating already, and you just need to take it to an audience. And it took a while, because I had low self-esteem, and that's hard on your confidence.
You know what I looked like in high school? I looked like androgynous Pat. They are waiting for you to say something that's going to change their lives. You probably shouldn't have had that third margarita. Worried what they might think, aren't you? Worried that they may not like you. Worried that they're looking at you thinking, I thought she'd be skinnier. Afraid they'll figure out that you're a size 14 on a good day. Okay, 16. I'm 14 if I get to pull my stomach down over the pants. It's all right. I heard a man likes a woman with a little junk in her trunk. I just hope he doesn't mind some in the dashboard.
I still fight that. Am I worth it? Am I allowed to get up here? Do I have something of value to say? And when you see how it connects with people, when you see how many people out there are just desperate for somebody to take the face off and get real and to be authentic with them and to come in and show them it's okay if you dance and the undersides of your arms jiggle like a bat's wings, or it's okay that I don't look like a princess, or it's okay I'm not a size 4.
Nobody's going to go in somewhere to that boob doctor and say, no, I don't want the Marilyn Monroe version. I want the Kelly Swanson version that looks like 2 tube socks with a handful of change hanging at the bottom.
That's kind of who I speak to. Not the ones with all the confidence in the world, but those who are sitting there that they really wanted to have this dream, and they maybe had a moment in the spotlight or didn't, and they left it because they got scared or somebody said they couldn't do it. I'm bringing humor and hope, laughter, stress relief, that encouragement that says we're gonna get through this together. You're gonna be okay. And if you don't think humor and hope is important, I'll show you somebody who doesn't have any.
Maybe there was another reason I couldn't see at the time of the season, because I knew all the notes. I could play them with ease. I practiced, I performed, I studied theories, but I think the reason my heart was dismaying was because I never believed in the song I was playing. And what good if you're skilled and you know every part if the song that you sing doesn't come from your heart?
That's the beauty of storytelling. You're telling them that story about Mama being painted on black velvet for Daddy for Christmas, and about her decorating the house, and there's not a tiny square inch of that house couldn't be nailed on, glued on, tacked on, shoved on top of that didn't have a Christmas decoration on it. And they're listening to your story, and they're there in Pride's Hollow, but they've also gone somewhere else. I did a retirement home one time, and there's a lady crying in the back. She was somebody that just happened to walk in. She was working, and she said, "You just took me back to my Christmas with my mama," and it was just, you brought me, you know, I was there, and I realized she was somewhere completely different, and I love that.
I tried to put a bikini on a couple of summers ago. Lord, those days are over. Oh, like you ever had those days. You couldn't even get your stomach tucked in all the way around it. Kept popping out like canned biscuits.
Sometimes I have such low self-esteem that last week my inner voice left me for somebody more confident. Sometimes I don't even like the way I breathe. I'm like, it's so predictable. In and out, in and out. Oh gosh, what if they hate me? What if they think I'm up here just trying to sell them something? What if I'm bothering them? What if I'm not good enough? What if? What's that storyline running through your head? Think about it. What is that script that you're following? That storyline, the one that you write that will dictate your attitudes and your behaviors and your control over your own actions. Do you know that the story you write is the story that your brain and then your body will start to obey? So if you write a story that says, I can't sell that, you won't. If you write a story that says, I'm not a leader, they won't see one. It starts here. Attitude is everything. That inner story you write is crucial to your success. It is what sabotaged me for years from selling more.
But over time, I began to realize that something deeper was happening, that I was connecting with them. When people would walk away and say, oh my gosh, this changed my life. And when I share my story and tap into the story of the people in my audience, it just really began to have a profound impact.
But I had a career as a professional storyteller. I almost hesitate to even call it a career, but I tell stories, people pay me for it. That counts. And I did it for years, and at first it was just entertainment. It was making people laugh, it was making them feel good, but I saw something else was happening. I was like, whoa, this is more than entertainment. The more stages I got on, the more audiences I got in front of, I began to see that in sometimes short amounts of time, even 10, 15, 20 minutes, something was changing between me and an audience. We were going from strangers to friends. We were going from strangers to having this emotional connection. We were going from arms crossed to crying in my ear when it was all over and telling me their dreams. Something was happening here. I was learning the art of connection. But as I began to study the art of connection and how people can use stories to sell, that's where the connection happens. I began to see a pattern of 3 important stories that every one of us as salespeople or connectors or master influences should be able to tell. I do not want to leave here without at least telling you what they are.
We don't take any action without having a visual image of it first. We don't do anything without seeing it. Many of us jump right to, let me sell you, let me tell you what I have, let me tell you what you need, and here's what you need to do, and they skip over that place you have to go first to open up their heart and connect and engage with them. The story was my secret weapon. It was the reason I got booked. It's still to this day. It's the reason I'm able to make an impact. And that's where the story crafting course came from. It came from years of going inside my process and coming up with a formula, with a template that was easy for anybody to step into.
When data becomes story, information becomes compelling. People don't buy data, they buy the story. It is wrapped in.
The story crafting course is so exciting to me because on several different levels, you are learning the techniques, the principles, the formulas. You're learning all the pieces in how to write a good story that you can go take and use anywhere. Each lesson is broken up into a story, and then the lesson behind that story, and then your homework. I feed you everything you need. I give you the questions. I prompt you to pull out that story that's going to connect and engage with your customer. What's their story? You're not going to end the course with a bunch of knowledge in your lap. You're going to end the course with 3 finished stories already ready to go. Your about me story, your brand story, and your customer story. And they are not just any 3 stories, they are what I believe are the 3 critical foundational stories that all of you should be telling to master the art of connection and engagement.
Hey everyone, I'm Kevin Brown, Assistant Vice President of Marketing with Servpro. I wanted to talk to you for just a minute about Kelly Swanson. Kelly Swanson is one of those rare individuals that has the unique talents and gifts to help you tell your story. After 30 years in corporate America, I can tell you from a sales and marketing perspective, from a leadership perspective, the one thing that separates great brands, great leaders, great salespeople from everybody else is their ability to tell a story, to figure out first what that story is, to shape it, to refine it, and then deliver that with passion and power, whether that's a corporate narrative, whether that's a message to your customers, or whether it's a speech that you're giving. Whoever your audience is, you need to deliver with passion and power a story that influences, connects, and engages the people that you're trying to reach. Kelly Swanson has a unique talent. I've seen it firsthand. I've used it myself. She can draw that story out. She can harvest that history and help you find those stories that tell your unique point of view, your brand story, your personal story in a way that nobody else can. She can help you influence at a higher level, connect with your ideal audience, and drive those relationships deeper than they've ever been before. So if you're thinking about exploring the opportunity with Kelly, I would encourage you to do so, because she is truly, truly a rare talent. She has a gift for creating word pictures and helping people figure out exactly what it is they're trying to say and then delivering it with power. So check out Kelly's website, check out her services. I promise you, you won't be sorry.
I want to write a new story. Is that another hair growing out of my chin? How about we write a new storyline? One that says, if one person walks out of here more encouraged, who feels more appreciated, who feels more empowered, if one person walks out of here believing in themselves more than they did when they walked out. How about I write a story that says if one person walks out of here a little braver, with more confidence, who's willing to step into their spotlight and own it and treasure the spirit that has been put inside of them. If one person walks out of here and says, I heard a message today that I know was meant for me, a message much bigger than the speaker, that simply flowed through me to meet you in your broken places and whisper hope. One person. Or one person walks out of here and says, I laughed so hard I peed. Then I will be just fine with that. That's my story. And I'm sticking to it. She was leaning against the counter, sorting tips. Worn hands, worn heart, and aching hips. Every moment or so, almost evenly spaced, she'd blow the hair out of her face. She'd once been pretty, or so they said, when she wore that crown upon her head. And from her flower-covered float, she had blown a kiss and swore life couldn't get any better than this. And she'd been right. The glory days behind her. Traded in that carriage for this dusty diner. Worn cliche, same tired old story of another small-town princess who fades from glory. You see, long ago, she stopped dreaming or expecting her life to have much meaning. Going through the motions bit by bit, convinced this was as good as it would get. In her stained apron, another lunch special gone by. Cup of veggie soup, corned beef on rye. Old man Barley's favorite. Every day, 5:30. Why, he never missed a day, except the day he died.
And even then, she could have swore a hint of that aftershave he wore, drifting over his empty place that no one had the heart to take. So it was a day just like the one before. Like so many others more, smell of burned coffee in the air, mixed in with just a twinge of despair. A hint or two of loneliness, a couple engaged in new love's bliss. Some folks rushing A to Z, and some with simply nowhere else to be. What they had in common was that no one knew what was soon to come, or rather who. They didn't sense the shifting wind or what it would be bringing in from a few miles away and down the road a piece, where Buster's Bait and Tackle and the airport meet. The storm took hold, its fury sounded, and all the outbound flights were grounded. Much to the dismay of the travelers headed home from convention, into whose plans fate had thrown a wrench in, now found themselves in the middle of God knows where we are, set out in hopes of finding a bar. But as fate and the mayor's wife would proclaim, there be no bar on a road bearing her name. And so all the travelers were able to find was this dusty diner about a block off Route 29. As soon as the door's bell announced they were there, every head lifted and every fork paused in midair. In one universal expression, while well-meaning at heart, it said, "We know you ain't from around these here parts." Breaking into their silence, joining them to dine, was this group of strangers, and not just any kind, but a very select group. They are oft known to say, the kind who change lives each and every day. The board breakers, the dream makers, the starfish seekers, known to the world as motivational speakers. To a town like this was something to balk at these people who got paid to talk. And so, on this unsuspecting night, a storm, a diner, and a grounded flight gave birth to a story that has traveled this far, of 4 motivational speakers and a waitress named Star. To all of you out there wondering if someone is receiving your gift, please remember this story as proof that they are, told by this motivational speaker whose friends call her Star.
In case you might have missed that, that is a perfect example of the power of words.
There's a bigger reason for why I do what I do. This is not about me. When you love on people and you help them heal and you watch them, you see the impact. You just sit back and go, whoa, this is bigger than me. This is bigger than a job description.
Loved her honesty. She's very humorous, that's for sure. She's hilarious to listen to, but it has a personal touch when you have your own stuff in your life that you deal with. So it was great.
I take the role of a motivational speaker seriously, and I don't believe that that client or the person who paid to come see the show is paying for just an hour of my time. I believe that we were meant to be drawn together. in this divine appointment, so to speak.
I hope our paths cross again. I hope you stay on the funny side of life and that you don't stay in the land of if only. And if I can ever be of any help, find me. My door's open and I mean it, and we'll take this journey together. I'm Kelly Swanson. It's nice to meet you.